The dog attacked a domestic bull, but it turned out that the ungulate can fight no worse than a wild buffalo. At first, the bull ran away from the dog, but then turned around and rushed into a counterattack. He almost rammed the dog with his horns, and when the lighter opponent dodged, the bull began to trample the opponent. The dog was lucky to be alive, but now she knows exactly where her own ribs are. She will feel that pain in them for a long time. It was not worth angering this horned beast. We will show other cases today where bulls have shown that you should not be messing with them. The bear was so focused on finding food under his feet, but did not notice how a huge gaur, an Asian wild bull, came up from behind. Finally, the bear heard the giant's breathing behind him, looked back, and ran away in panic. The bear definitely did not expect that the huge buffalo would be able to come so close unnoticed. The predator was lucky that the ungulate just wanted to make way for it. If the bull had rammed the bear, even such a large carnivorous beast would not have been able to resist. And here the gaur drove a bear up a tree. The predator did not expect such impudence, but could not do anything about it. The buffalo was too strong and big. He doesn't even calm down and continues to attack the bear, forcing it to rise up even higher. This pit bull thought that this frontal attack and barking would cause the bison to panic. Of course, when a pit bull is rushing at you, it's hard to remain indifferent because this is one of the strongest dogs in its weight category. And most importantly, she has a stranglehold. That doesn't mean that she has a super strong bite. It's just that if she clenches her jaw, it's extremely difficult to get them to unclench it. Unsurprisingly, a pit bull can frighten even much larger animals. But the bull just looked at the aggressor like an idiot, and at the key moment threw the arrogant dog away. That pit bull flew away like a rag. The bison was not afraid, and this was good news for the dog, because in anger and panic, such a bull could simply trample the dog. As it was, the pit bull did a somersault in the air, and when she got up, he ran away from the bison as if away from a monster. Let this be a lesson for that little dog. There are red wild dogs in southern Asia. If you remember the story about Mowgli, then it was Akela's wolves who fought with them. These ginger dogs are not so big, but they are very numerous, dexterous, and cunning. Here they surrounded a female gaur and her newly born calf. The mother towers over the cub like a living mountain, but she was taken into the ring. There are about a dozen predators here, and although the red dogs cannot jump to the buffalo's throat, they constantly attack from different sides to distract the mother and kidnap the baby. But predators do not know who they were dealing with. Gaurs not only have crushing power, but also excellent reaction speed. The female quickly repels the attacks of the enemies, and then returns and beats off the calf as soon as another dog bites into it. The gaur literally scatters the predators and makes them run away. The stubborn ginger dogs are ready to put up with the risk of being hit by the horns and hooves of such a terrible enemy, just to defeat the calf. For them, this helpless baby is lunch, which will last the pack for about 2 days. However, the endurance of the calf's mother comes as an unpleasant surprise to the predators. The dogs can't drive her away, slow her down, or distract her. She stands menacingly over her cub, and her legs are like the columns of a protective dome. She's a pretty tough guard, isn't she? However, when the female is walking, she may not intentionally hit the calf's head. But it's better than the dog's fangs. The huge deer here thought that the larger branching horns gave him an advantage in the confrontation with the bison. We must pay tribute to this fighter. He is not afraid of a more massive opponent and boldly goes on the attack. Besides this, a deer can really rely on his antlers. They're huge, powerful, and sturdy. Many branches allow you to compensate and distribute the force of the blow from the front, as well as cover the beast from the side. To block the enemy's attack from the flank, it is enough for the deer to turn its head slightly to the side to meet one of the sharp tips of its enemy. And stabbing with spikes is dangerous because it can harm internal organs, hit the opponent's eyes, or even get stuck in his body. However, relying only on horns and courage in a fight with a bull is a mistake. Maybe the horns of the bison are short, but this beast itself is incredibly strong and cool. The bison is about twice as massive and is not shy about his strength. He easily throws away the deer from him at the first counterattack and then pushes the opponent and shows that he messed with the wrong one. The bull plays, but constantly dominates the opponent. Probably if he wanted to, he would have crushed the opponent's resistance long ago, knocking over the deer and trampling it. But the bison prefers to deal with a worthy enemy and to behave with dignity and restraint, without bringing the fight to a fatal finale. However, a deer should not test the patience of a larger ungulate. If you think that the bison defeats opponents only at the expense of its physical strength, then you are honestly mistaken. Here, a very young bull faced 3 adults and powerful deer at once. Each of the deer is larger than the young bull, but he still does not allow himself to be driven away. Armed with branched horns, the beast attacks and forces the bison to retreat. But he overcomes the first fright. It seems that the very fact of his own retreat has become unpleasant to him. Therefore, the bison launches a counterattack simply out of stubbornness, to show the deer that they have contacted the wrong enemy. And the bison wins. He is dispersing a group of 3 deer where each one is bigger than the bull. Such courage deserves your like, don't you think? A large herd of buffaloes was grazing and minding their own business when a rhinoceros approached them. You'd be surprised, but he didn't know who he was about to mess with. Rhinos have one feature: they have poor eyesight. They are guided by scent, but movement from downwind is able to hide the presence of an animal from rhinos, and not even intentionally for him. Quite often, these huge armored beasts weighing up to 3 tons notice other animals next to them only when they are at a distance of several yards. When the blurred spot in front of the eyes develops into the figure of a fairly large animal, the rhinoceros may be scared, even if its neighbor in the pasture is another herbivore. And when a rhinoceros is scared, it attacks. This feature caused many ridiculous conflicts between the armored beast and other herbivores that were not even threatening it at all. The same thing happened here. The rhinoceros was just plodding along, and suddenly the dark spots formed into a whole herd of buffaloes. This caused giant stress. He was going to attack the whole herd and trample the youngest members of it, but he got involved with the wrong ungulates. The buffaloes acted decisively and at the same time wisely. The leader of the herd went one-on-one against a huge rhinoceros, which is several times more massive and much stronger. The bull understands that he will not be able to defeat such a formidable opponent, but his goal is different. He simply diverts the aggressor's attention to himself in order to give the rest of his family time to get away without unnecessary panic. That's pretty amazing loyalty to your relatives, don't you agree? The rhinoceros threatens the bull and he accepts the rules of the game. Visually, the buffalo seems to be an equal opponent for the rhinoceros, but this is a bluff. If a more massive beast releases its superiority, it will knock the buffalo down or pierce its belly with its horn. At the same time, the bull cannot retreat because his task is to distract the enemy. Therefore, the rivals circle, conduct accurate attacks without putting all their weight into blows, test each other's courage. And in terms of courage, the bull definitely won. He waited for the belligerents to leave the rhino, after which he carefully went to his relatives without loss or serious damage. The lioness thought that she could ambush the bulls, and if the ungulates noticed the threat, then they could simply escape. But the lioness was wrong. The ungulates will not let her go that easily. The cat did not know who it was dealing with. The bull not only showed the enemy that he noticed the presence of a threat, but also went on the attack first. The lioness just froze in shock. She did not expect such insolence, and the bull took advantage of this. The ungulate attacked the predatory cat, pinned it to the ground with a powerful blow, and then lifted it on its horns. In one powerful movement, the bull threw the discouraged lions onto his back, and she collapsed to the ground. The predatory cat could not even think about attacking bulls. She was lucky to escape alive and relatively unharmed. The mane prevents the lion from sneaking up on prey, but if it was possible to get close enough, then the male is dangerous even for a young rhinoceros or elephant. Taking down a bull one-on-one is a difficult but doable task for a lion. However, this predator clearly does not understand who it is dealing with. The lion clearly does not know why the buffalo does not run away if it has noticed the enemy in advance. Did fear paralyze the bull? Not at all. It's just that the buffalo is confident in its abilities. He is ready to fight back against the predator, and this is not banal self-confidence, and the lion is attacking. He runs into the bull and tries to knock it to the ground, but the ungulate withstands the first onslaught. As a retaliatory blow, the buffalo tries to hit the lion with sharp tips of its horns, with sharp movements of its head to the side, rip through its skin, pick it up, and remove it from its back. An experienced lion understands this danger, so he stays behind enemy lines. Clawed paws cling securely to the muscular sides of the buffalo, while powerful jaws grab at the back. The purpose of the lion is to bite through the skin at this point, where the spine fits the skin. Then it will be possible to damage the spine and paralyze or at least weaken the victim. But the bull is much stronger and braver than the predator thought of him. The herbivore gives an impressive rebuff and throws off a predator that weighs more than 1/4 of a ton. At the same time, the bull itself is heavier, but for him, such a mass is still a big load. Nevertheless, the bull managed to repel the attack and go on a retaliatory attack. The lion is tired of these dances, and he runs away. This hedgehog was strolling in a semi-open tunnel on the hillside and suddenly noticed giant quills. It was a porcupine. Seemed like a meeting of two brothers, the younger and the elder. However, it turned out that the porcupine was a bit preoccupied. It was battling with a huge python that decided to attack the creature. Notice the partly bare skin on the porcupine's tail and back. It might look like he's sick or injured, but in reality, most of the quills are just stuck in the body of the enemy. Yeah, you got that right. The porcupine looks a little bit roughed up because it is winning, not losing. When a large python, almost the size of a small car, attacks it, the porcupine responds by turning its back and making several sharp movements towards the snake. This not only deflects the opponent's attack, but more importantly, pierces its body with quills, inflicting several puncture wounds that could literally devastate the reptile's internal organs. The porcupine attacks by turning its back to the enemy, which is a unique tactic that doesn't seem particularly fearsome at first glance. But look at the snake. It's bewildered by such force. The porcupine acts very aggressively. It's massive and, besides the quills, employs a ramming technique, stomping the python into the dust, pounding it into the ground. Even a nimble leopard would find it challenging to extract quills from a wound. The python has no chance of getting rid of the porcupine's gifts. Even if it survives, it won't last long after retreating. In the hot tropical climate, wounds with embedded quills will quickly become infected. Infections will set in, exacerbated by the poor condition of the porcupine after the lost battle. The python is doomed. But the hedgehog didn't choose this route without reason. While the large porcupine deals with the enormous python in its weight class, the hedgehog also confronts the snakes. Not as long, but still venomous. Credit needs to be given where it's due. It attempted to attack the hedgehog in its unprotected face. If the venomous fangs had embedded in the creature's nose, the venom would have stopped its heart within a minute. But the hedgehog proved to be a tough fighter, relying not only on defense but also on reaction speed. In this regard, the little one excels. Only with slow motion footage can you actually see how quickly it dodges the opponent's venomous fangs. The battle takes place at close range, so besides speed, the direction is a crucial factor. If the hedgehog had turned sideways, jumped backwards, or raised its head, the snake's second strike would have been fatal. Instead, the hedgehog made the only right move, tilting its head, simultaneously evading the snake's attack and presenting its quills against the reptile. The snake tried to penetrate this defense, but only ended up injuring its mouth. The armadillo has a reputation for being a cute and rather timid creature that, at the slightest threat, goes into a defensive mode, curls its body into a ball, and waits for the enemy to retreat, unable to penetrate its protection. However, the armadillo behaves this way only when it encounters large predators like lions or jaguars. Snakes are an entirely different matter. While foraging, the armadillo resembles a living vacuum cleaner, strolling through the forest and carefully exploring its undergrowth. The diligent creature with its elongated snout looks so adorable that one might want to shout, "Watch out, there's a snake nearby!" Yet the armadillo was fully aware and couldn't care less. The reptile chose the wrong adversary here, not someone it could intimidate or defeat with a single bite. A strike, and the venomous fangs hit the armadillo. Though startled and recoiling, the creature sustains no injuries. The venomous fangs couldn't do anything thanks to the animal's protective armor. If you think the armadillo got lucky, then you're assessing the situation incorrectly. In reality, luck favored the snake. It turned out to be large enough for the armadillo to ignore it as prey and continue on with its business. It simply couldn't be bothered. Slightly shorter, but the most dangerous venomous reptiles for the armadillo, those are the favored treats. Moreover, the animal doesn't even have to curl into a ball since its armor provides such an excellent protection. See what happens when a rattlesnake attacks the armadillo. The snake literally propels its head at bullet speed, exposes its venomous fangs with hemotoxin that destroys blood, and just shatters against the armor. The effect is akin to bullets bouncing off Superman. The armadillo doesn't even flinch. The sharp venomous fangs of the rattlesnake are not powerful or resilient enough. They literally break against the armor of the small but fierce creature, and the snake experiences a jolt as if it rammed its head into a stone. Not a scratch is left on the armor. And while giant snakes can pose a threat to the armadillo, here's what happens when this armored beast encounters a snake only 1.5 times larger than itself. This can't even be called a duel. More like domination. The reptile stands no chance. It seems like the armadillo doesn't take the opponent seriously at all, and instead of employing any strategic tactics, just bites wherever it feels like. It's just checking where it would be most convenient to grasp the enemy with its teeth. The snake wriggles, fights, and tries to bite, but none of its counterattacks yield any results. The armadillo simply ignores them. Its robust skin, covered with natural armor, makes it completely invulnerable to an opponent of such dimensions. Eventually, the armadillo efficiently deals with the snake, crushing its attempts to resist. Escape is out of the question, as the opponent quickly grabs and easily restrains it. Betting on a single weapon like venomous fangs is not an effective option against the armadillo. For its skin, the snake's venomous teeth are like shots from a pistol against a tank. Even if the anaconda is not the longest snake in the world, it is certainly the strongest. By body weight, it surpasses longer pythons, and all that mass comprises of powerful and reliable muscles. The anaconda lunges at its prey, seizes it with its jaws, and almost instantly envelops it in the coils of its flexible body. This tactic rarely fails, as shedding the weight of the snake's body, equivalent to a small minibus, is almost impossible for anyone. Contrary to common misconception, the anaconda doesn't have to seek the neck to strangle its opponent. It simply compresses the body and torso at any point, already causing severe damage. Bones can't withstand it, internal organs suffer critical injuries, each subsequent breath becomes more challenging and painful than the previous one, and due to the comprehensive compression, blood pressure in the vessels rises so much that the prey is practically stunned by this effect alone. However, even with such an arsenal, attacking a jaguar was a significant mistake, even for a fully grown and enormous anaconda twice as long as a panther. The jaguar may yield to the lion and tiger in mass, but it possesses an incredibly muscular body. Under the beast's skin, you can see its tight muscles tense as the predator crouches, executing each precise movement. Power, agility, and the exquisite precision of movement coordination allow the jaguar to free itself from the grip of the anaconda before the snake inflicts serious damage to the panther. The cat manages to break free, but this is not the end, only the beginning. The jaguar wants to teach the anaconda a lesson and launches a counterattack. The snake slithers into the water, but it doesn't save her. Unlike other panthers, the jaguar not only knows how to swim, which is typical for all large cats, but also enjoys doing so. Moreover, it is so agile that it can even hunt in the water. The fact that the panther can't see the anaconda doesn't bother the cat at all. With lightning-fast movements, the jaguar locates the enemy and starts striking it, then clamps down with its jaws. The bite force of the jaguar is several times greater than that of a lion, and the anaconda, despite all its length and power, can't endure it. By clenching its teeth, the panther literally paralyzes the enemy. The anaconda tries to at least block the jaguar's snout, entwine its nose and mouth, but the opponent is way too strong. As a result of this battle, the jaguar triumphs over the anaconda and brings it as lunch to its family. By the way, notice that this is a black jaguar, while its mate and cubs have the usual spotted coloration. The dark coat color is passed on by a recessive gene, so all the offspring of this super strong fighter inherited the coloration of the other parent. But perhaps the grandchildren will also be black. With such a powerful, fierce, and loyal father, the jaguar cubs have every chance to survive, grow, and start their own lineage.